Breaking-ish news here at Now with Alex Wagner. We just have news from the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, that recommending that all portable electronic devices, that would be cell phones, Blackberries, mobile phones, be banned for drivers nationwide, except those designed to support the driving test, which is to say GPS.
I'm not surprised. Study after study after study shows that when you're driving and you have a PDA in your lap, and when you're obviously trying to do two things at once, that's a bad thing. We were talking during the break that it's almost tantamount to driving while under the influence. You are driving under the influence. You're driving under the influence of technology. And it's not appropriate. We've seen dozens upon dozens, maybe even thousands of people whose lives have been in jeopardy because people are foolish enough to go behind a wheel and drive and put their lives at stake. I'm sorry, put their lives at stake and other people's lives at stake.
It's so important, especially I have a 20-year-old daughter. There's a generation that has grown up with these devices as if they're just second nature. But to really show that it's so dangerous. But I'm struck that in several state legislatures, there has been legislation to ban these devices, and it hasn't gone through.
Well,
so where are these lobbyists
the federal government
trying to
come in? I mean,
but is this akin to, like, well, we talk about the nanny state, and look, I was in a car watching a woman BlackBerry and GPS and do something else at the same time and thought, like, we need to pull away from her. But is this akin to cutting down on salt content in foods and protecting Americans from themselves?
People don't know what's good for them in many instances. In this instance, people don't know that you can't text. If I could finish, you can't text and drive. You know, you cannot use your iPad and drive. I've tried to text and drive, and it's absolutely a deadly thing to do, particularly among the young. And at some point, you know, Americans are foolish, and they do foolish things, and they need laws in place to say you can't do this. And if you do it, we're going to give you a ticket.
As someone who has gone to driving school several times and almost had my license taken away, it is very, very dangerous. And they show videos in driving school about it's literally the same effect as drinking and driving.
Right. Yeah.
But Alex,
speaking of questionable decisions, Lowe's home improvement store is standing by its decision to pull ads from the TLC reality show All American Muslim, bowing to pressure from outside groups. Lowe's has said, we have a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion, and we're proud of that long-standing commitment. If we have made anyone question that commitment, we apologize. And we talk about the national dialogue here.
This is the most heartbreaking story I think I've read in a long time. This show is about anti-discrimination for Muslims in America, Muslims living in Michigan, and what they go through on a daily basis. And Lowe's is now rescinding their advertising, basically doing the same thing that Muslims have to deal with on a daily basis. It's horrible.
Meghan is right, but it's part of a larger culture, Meghan. When you think of, you know, the way there's been a bigotry and intolerance toward Muslim Americans in our political culture, here you have the commercialization of that. We shouldn't be talking about that. And by the way, this country goes around the world lecturing other countries about pluralism and democracy, and here we have an example, in my view, of just downright bigotry.
And it's insanity. And the fact is that Muslim Americans need to fix their homes just like anybody else.
I know.
I know we got to go, but this is the most weak-kneed. This is the most weak-kneed thing that an American company has done to fellow Americans. These Muslim Americans are just that. They're Americans.
And we will